Alright everyone, we start off today with the response to the Buffalo shooting. Of course, it was motivated by, someone who was screwed up in the head, and they blame in part certain aspects of tech for the screwed upness. The legacy media does. I will get into this very bizarre article, link in the description. This is from Reason, talking about some of these sites in the Buffalo shooting. I will note there is a very stark difference in the way that politicians and legacy media and craftivists, ADL involved with this by the way, are handling the Buffalo shooting as opposed to the Waukesha Parade massacre, which was also racially motivated. The two don't seem to have resulted in the same response, and I'm wondering why. Sites that host black nationalism, black supremacy, they never face any problems about this. Twitter does all the time. They're never told by the ADL or SPLC, hey, knock it out, even though some of these groups, by the way, are explicitly anti-Semitic in their origin and meanderings. Link in the description again. And I'd like to point out a couple things about this article. First, it's a hit piece. We're used to this. This is effectively the opportunism of the rich elite, the legacy media, big tech heads, to try to attack smaller competitors. They're using the term Alttech here, although I use the term new tech now, because Alttech, it's not really an alternative. At this point, there's actual organic innovation and growth, and it's not really, like Rumble's not a YouTube alternative, it's a direct competitor. BitChute's no longer Alttech, it's new tech, Odyssey, all of these other sites. So BitChute is mentioned, and I don't see what that has to do with the Buffalo shooter. I haven't seen any indicator that that is the site that he was using. In fact, I believe he had a YouTube channel. Kiwi Farms is mentioned, and Kiwi Farms is mainly just an eCeleb gossip forum of dumpster fire crap. The idea that the site itself has anti-Semitic or far-right leanings, I think if you went to the pages of most conservative or anti-com or at least not leftoid content creators, you'd find plenty of criticism of them. This person has posted cringe. This person has posted something that's totally inaccurate. You see people getting dogpiled actually if they do the Jews thing on a regular basis there, so I'm not sure exactly why the site is mentioned. Also, it's not Alttech. It's a gossip forum that was initially built around the idea of Chris Chan. It's eCeleb stuff. It's blood sports and dumpster fire sort of things. Insofar as politics is involved at all, it's really just interpersonal fighting between political content creators. And then they mentioned 4chan, and I'm thinking to myself, 4chan dates to the mid-2000s. It has nothing in common with Alttech. Alttech is a broad umbrella term, the antiquated one, now in favor of new tech, that covers new tech sites that have effectively taken up the mantle of what big tech used to be when they were in their infancy. YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and so forth. Initially, these billionaires that ran these sites, I don't think they were ever principled in the sense of free speech, but they understood that creating a broad platform in which free speech was present was profitable. And I think that they enjoyed it. I think that the inner communication of people from all around the world, and generally in a positive way, is a good thing, and they were happy to lord over these sites. I think they may be a little bit jaded now as they watch armies of pink-haired people move in and take over their sites and subsume them. Jack Dorsey certainly seems to fall under this category. Bezos increasingly. By the way, as just a little bit of an aside, I seem to remember getting a lot of criticism for not dragging Jeff Bezos as much as I drag people like Susan Wojcicki or Mark Zuckerberg. I notice that these people are notably absent from my content now. Could it be because Bezos has a redemption arc? Yeah, I think that that's definitely the case. And unlike Jack Dorsey, I think that he actually means it when he's going after the Bidenomic administration or saying, maybe the censorship has gone a little bit too far. I'll give him credit, of course. POD on Amazon has censored considerably less than all of the other mainline tech sites. Amazon might be number one of the old tech sites on taking a hands-off approach at this point. Initially, it was YouTube, actually. They got completely curb stomped. Again, take a look at this link in the description. The article doesn't even properly apply the term Alttech in its antiquated usage. 4chan is an old site. It's fucking, almost 20 years old at this point. Kiwi Farms is reasonably old. It's not even a politically connected site. It's e-celeb drama. It's gossip. It's basically like a soap opera for the content creator community in the more broad sense. The fact is, though, that these sites are unified by one thing, and that's a dedication to the concept that people can generally speak freely about events. In the case of 4chan, they can do so completely anonymously. And that's really the problem that these groups have. They're saying, well, these sites have so much anti-Semitism. It's terrible. You might want to make another hit piece about the squad of the Democratic Party. They seem to have, especially Elon Omar and Rashida Tlaib, views that would be, I guess they'd probably be welcomed on these sites if they were actually overrun by Nazis. They would be welcomed there. I found it funny the other day when they were talking about the Republican Party devolving towards bigotry and anti-Semitism, and then I was thinking about the actual socio-political climate of the U.S. House, and I was saying, no, I don't think that this is it. And this is the sort of hit piece that we've had to weather now for the better part of a half a decade, and I'll tell you why. The old tech giants and the legacy media pundit class and the old wave establishment politicians right now are melting down with terror. What they've realized is that they cannot outcompete the random person with a webcam, the small media organization that is actually genuinely grassroots, that has grown up and is now using sites that are beyond their control. They're trying to attack 4chan and BitChute and Odyssey, through SEC filings actually, and Rumble and Locals and Subscribestar and Kiwi Farms, arguably, and all of these other sites, because these are places where actual individualistic interest actually still reign. Nobody is interested in CNN's BitChute page. CNN is if it's spoken of at all, it's almost invariably critical. If it's a post on 4chan or something like that, there's no love for the legacy media. So new people come in, and they see that, and they are awakened to the reality the way it really is, which is that the majority of talent, of information, of truth, actually at this point, is on new tech, or sites that are dedicated to free speech like 4chan, and which, unlike Reddit, never deviated from that general trajectory. That's what they're worried about. Like look at their attacks on, for example, the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive, Wayback Machine's now useless. That's been politicized and Jackowitz at this point. Look at their repository of books. Why would they be facing such stiff headwinds, such stiff attacks? It's because mainline publishers who are trying to extend the copyright laws as much as they can, Disney is part of this too, by the way, for intellectual copyright purposes, they realize that they're now having to compete with a backlog of literally millions of texts freely available on the internet that compete because of algorithms, the way that they work on the internet, which people use disproportionately now for commerce to find things that are interesting. They have to compete with that enormous bulk of material, and it's all fully tagged and searchable, and it's there. Their edition has to compete with a free edition. Well, you're losing money with independent content creators in general, which are platformed by BitChute, which go and get mentioned on Kiwi Farms, which can post on or be posted about on 4chan. Why would they be worried about effectively what in many cases is nothing more than e-drama to someone who has a webcam? It's because they compete for time usage. For every minute that is spent on my videos, for example, on a news subject, a person is not spending that minute on CNN. And what big tech and legacy politicians and all of these others have in common, legacy media, big tech, big establishment politicians, they've all thrown in together. They're all part of the same globalistic fundraising nexus, and they all hate the concept of the free and open internet, which I'll be debating later today actually on the Kill Stream with Richard Spencer. They hate the idea of the free and open internet because it outcompetes them. It takes money away from them. The existence of archival services. Archival services have come under attack. I tell people, don't ever share out a news article from a legacy network or a post by a legacy politician till you run it through archive.today. That's because it drains them of attention and money. It allows us to analyze their stupidity without them piggybacking off of the more talented creators, which are their competitors, for clickbait purposes. Run them into the ground. The less money they have, the less money that they're spending on legacy politicians' campaigns, the less money that they have to pay the journos and pundits and craptivists and slacktivists to make hit pieces on the places that we can actually speak freely on. Like this video, for example, it will be on YouTube, where you can no longer speak freely. It's been compromised by these people. But it'll also be on BitChute. It'll be on Odyssey. It'll be on Rumble. And it'll be on Minds.com. There's no limits. And this terrifies them. Because if it weren't for algorithmic manipulation and outright censorship, and in some cases even state persecution of these content creators, not only would they be losing their monopoly, which they're doing anyway, they'd already have been crushed. Some of the legacy and missing link networks probably wouldn't even exist. We've seen massive cuts at the boardrooms at the New York Times and BuzzFeed and Salon and others. There's a reason for that. And they're all in it together. So this is just a censorship stink piece. It's not based in any real reality. It has no bearing on reality whatsoever. The fact is that the Buffalo shooter was not radicalized by 4chan. Doesn't appear, I think, to have even used BitChute or Kiwi Farms. And yet they're name dropped in this article. It sort of reminds me when the the Wall Street Journal hit piece on content creators came out, and I was alongside Alex Jones and what was it, BP Earthwatch. 3 different creator channels, 3 totally different kinds of content. InfoWars, Alex Jones, is Missing Link Media. It's an actual network with a regular news style, like an Art Bell thing going on. I'm a kid at the time, literally a kid, basically. I'm 34 now. I think late 20s, you're still a kid. With a webcam, and I'm analyzing polls. I'm analyzing political probabilities. I'm not doing the frogs or gay stuff. And then BP Earthwatch, I know he gets into kind of the conspiratorial mindset sometimes. A lot of his stuff is just weather alerts. Weather alerts and analyzing science and shit like that, like seismic activity and wave sizes and stuff, and then occasionally talking about his Christian religion. Why are these 3 individuals and groups lumped in together within the same stink piece? It was mind-blowing to me. BuzzFeed and a few of these other, Gizmodo was doing that at one point, naming dropping me. Again, alongside people that are totally disparate, but the similarity is that we support free speech and we're independent. That is, we are not on a corporate dole. We're not reliant upon some parent company with $1 billion in Chinese investments, and it scares them. That's the truth. That's about all. Peace out.